This is Triple M and the brand new Pretty Reckless album is out now, the fourth album, Death by Rock and Roll. And a big hello to Taylor. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing all right. We caught up in December, and at that point, you were still had a lot of anticipation for the album. You hadn't performed any songs from the album live electric yet. Have you actually got together with the band, or is it still the same?
No, it's the same. I'm joking. I was like, I feel like we talked yesterday, like still sitting at the desk, doing the press on the computer. I mean, but in good news, the record is finally out and everyone can listen to it. So that's really exciting. It almost doesn't feel real though. Like it feels surreal that it's out. Like we spent so long working on it and kind of sitting on it and waiting for it to come out, and now it's out. But like life hasn't changed at all. So it's
Yeah.
it's kind of weird to wrap my head around, but I'm glad that everyone can finally listen to it.
Is
So
it
that's cool.
a bit easier doing all your sort of press just from your house, or does it suck? Because you would have been doing a bit of traveling and flying and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, in one way it's cool because I don't have to put on like actual pants. You know, can't complain about that. But the monotony of it starts to wear on you a little bit, where it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
I feel like I'm living in Groundhog Day.
I bet. I bet.
Groundhog
And
Year.
and where you are, is life getting back to a little bit of normal? Like, is it you got restaurants sort of opening up, sort of outdoor dining or whatever, or
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I don't really trust it. Like
no?
I'm like I think I said previously, I'm kind of a hypochondriac, so I'm not risking it. I will do takeout, like if they do curbside though, so that's good because I'm a terrible cook. So finally, finally, change up my diet from just breakfast for dinner. So that's good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully it all gets back to normal pretty soon. We're kind of hoping, there's a lot of tours being announced over here, and, we're sort of hoping that maybe the next 12 months, we can see some more international touring happening. Guns N' Roses is apparently happening in the end of the year. I don't really know if that's really gonna happen or not yet, but we're gonna hope it does.
Fingers
Uh,
crossed. I mean, before this, like back in 2020, we were supposed to be opening for them. So,
mm,
as far as I know, that's just postponed. It's not actually canceled. So, maybe, but it changes daily. Like what I'm hearing, it's like, yeah, you're going to be touring in the fall, and it's like, nope, it's going to be 2022.
yeah,
And it's like, well, okay, I'll wait till you actually, confirm something. We keep booking tours and then canceling them or postponing them, and so I'm not getting my hopes up too high because I just don't want to be let down again.
well, you toured with them before, didn't you? On your very first the first album, you were probably on the road for that, and you would have seen probably two very different Axls, because it looks like Axl's really focused now after
I
getting
mean,
into the
yeah, but I mean, Axel on that tour was like a force to be reckoned with. Like it was
mm,
amazing to watch him perform every night. Like his voice like never went out. Like I would sit there just going, how is he doing this? Like this show's like 3 hours long and it's every night, and he like didn't it barely broke a sweat. But I was really excited to go out this time around because now it's like the full reformed Guns N' Roses with Slash and everything, and so that I was looking forward to that, and
yeah.
hopefully that happens at some point.
I saw them at Coachella when they got back together again, and Axl was in the throne, and I thought it actually helped his voice because, being seated, who would have thought it actually makes the voice a bit stronger, but it did somehow.
It did. Well,
He's not running around and,
yeah, he rules. So what are you gonna say?
No, what's your biggest, rockstar moment? Like when you met someone, and you'd grown up listening to their music, and you finally got to meet this person. Who was that out of everyone?
Out of everyone, well, the first person I met where my head kind of went back a little bit was I met Liam Gallagher from
Yep.
Oasis,
Yeah.
and he was just so cool. Like we were playing a festival with him, and I walked by his dressing room, his door was just open, and he was sitting by himself, like playing guitar on the couch, and then walked in and was like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And we ended up hanging out all night and stuff, and he was just awesome and super fun, and the epitome of rock star. So that was the first person I met where I went, "Oh, you're Liam Gallagher. That's something." That's
What about
pretty
for
cool,
you for
man.
going in and introducing yourself? Because everyone gets a little bit scared around people they idolize. Sometimes you don't even want to meet them because you don't want to be disappointed, but, you know.
That is true. You always hear "don't meet your idols" because
Yeah.
that could go south very quickly. But everyone that I've met that I've kind of looked up to in my life has always kind of exceeded my expectations. I feel like I've been very fortunate in that way. Maybe I just pick good idols. Like I don't know.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. So Death by Rock and Roll, it's finally out. We were talking about it for a long time, obviously, and I remember you saying that this is an album which almost saved your life, and you hear people say that sometimes, and you go, "Come on!" I mean, did it really. But in your case, you went through a lot leading up to this album and also recording it, and it literally did. Is that right?
It literally did. I mean, I was, like we went through a lot of loss, and it hit me extraordinarily hard in a way that I wasn't prepared for. And I went down a very dark rabbit hole of, depression and darkness and substance abuse and everything that comes with grief and tragedy and trauma and all that crap. And I didn't really know how to get out of it. And I was kind of stuck. And I think the scariest part was I was very content with being stuck. Like I'd become very comfortable and kind of numbing myself and essentially kind of fading into nothing. Like I'd kind of given up on life. I just kind of looked around, and when everything I love is dead, like everyone I love is dead, like what's the point of anything? And to make a long story short, is I turned to music, which has always been my salvation. And when I finally picked up a guitar again and started writing, this album just kind of poured out of me in a way that I still don't really know how to express into words. But that was certainly the first major step of me starting to heal myself, it was very cathartic, of kind of releasing everything that I had been repressing and holding inside and not letting it out. When I finally kind of opened, creaked that door a little bit, it was like the dam broke and like the floodgates exploded, and it just kind of stream of consciousness came out. And that really was the first major step I took forward of going, I need to get my shit together. Like I need to get on a better path. This is not working for me anymore.
And they're great songs, and everyone talks about the title "Death by Rock and Roll" being morbid, but it's not. It's literally about living your life to the fullest and not second guessing yourself. And so that's something everyone could look at the lyrics of that and go, actually, you know what? It's not.
It's a battle cry for life. Like it's a motto that, I've lived my life by. It was something that Cato, our, producer, used to say all the time. And it was this kind of ethic and this code that we lived our life by from the beginning of the formation of the band, like back in 2008, was death by rock and roll. Like you said, live life to the fullest, live life your own way, go out your own way. Don't let anyone tell you differently or how to live, and, rock and roll till I die. And so that was kind of this mantra that, whatever you want to call it, that we always kind of had in the back of our minds. And then when Cato passed, that phrase just became extraordinarily relevant in a whole different way. And this is probably the first album I had titled before I'd actually written all the songs.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And he'd be very proud, I think, of the album. It's a cracker. And same with Chris Cornell. You're on the Soundgarden tour with them when we lost Chris, and he'd be so damn proud of this album. It's a cracker. It's your fourth album, and I wanted to talk about a couple of songs on it because Death by Rock and Roll we're still playing it a lot now. It's
oh, awesome, nice, dude.
Yeah, it still sounds great, and we love it. And 25 was a highlight off the album as well. But I want to talk about the Soundgarden sort of collaboration, I guess, with Matt and Kim. And how did that happen?
Life, I don't know. I mean, who actually knows in reality? I mean, even if you live it, you still don't know how things actually come to fruition at the end of the day. Only Love Can Save Me Now was a song that I had written. It was one of the earlier songs written for the album. I kind of was in a very, very low place, I guess. That song to me is kind of the epitome of desperation. I was in a very desperate headspace, and it was actually, but whatever, became one of my favorite songs that I had written. And as we got into the recording process, it made a lot of musical sense. I knew that Matt and Kim would add this unparalleled weight to the song that we wouldn't be able to do ourselves, and really just take it to its full potential. So I sent them a demo of it, and I called Matt up and was like, would you guys want to play on this? Like, I think we could really make something special here. And they said, yeah, absolutely. And it was a very cool experience. So it ended up being one of the last songs we actually recorded, because we did it in Seattle, because I wanted them to be very much in their comfort zone. So we did it at London Bridge Studios, which is very cool. Like, it's such an iconic place. Like, I think it was Soundgarden did Louder Than Love there, and Pearl Jam recorded 10, and Alice in Chains made Dirt. So like just walking into that space, like, had the walls spoke to you. Like, it had so much energy to it that it was just incredible. And to be there, to not only be there, but to be there with Matt and Kim, like creating something new, was just absolutely for me kind of like this very full circle moment, and just very beautiful. And then like on a light note, like it just to hear it come to life for the first time was the coolest thing in the entire world. Like the first time Matt hits his snare and the first note that Kim plays on the guitar, the song just exploded out of the speakers in the most awesome way possible. And I was like, well, this works.
Pick yourself
this
up.
is cool.
You grew up listening to Soundgarden. I mean, this is insane.
It was insane. No, it's still surreal to me that whole thing happened. And it's certainly one of my favorite songs on the record, which I'm not supposed to say that because, you know, they're all my children. I'm not supposed to pick favorites, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't.
And you had Tom Morello on one of the tracks as well.
Yeah.
And he's an incredible guitarist. And he's got a great radio voice, by the way. Like, he sounds great on his radio show as well. Like, just
does, yeah.
What a dude.
I don't. I feel like every time I like guest DJ or something, I sound so stupid. I hate listening to myself talk. It's awful.
Well, look, the album is out now, and look, let's hope you can go out and perform it live. I'm still amazed you haven't actually got in the studio together to do these songs.
It's the weirdest thing ever. I mean, like everyone's been, you know, isolated. Everyone's, you know, with families, and you know, we have our own, you know, situations going on personally that, you know, have made it very difficult and challenging. But I'm hopefully soon. Like I'm looking forward to the day that we can just the four of us get back in the rehearsal space. Like, let's start there. Like, let's crank amps, Jamie, hit your drums, I'll scream into a microphone. That will be a very freeing day.
Yeah. Taylor, great to speak to you again. Stay safe. And the album is out now, Death by Rock and Roll. Taylor, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks, man.